God, this thing is like.
How are you doing? You're good.
Hold on.
Spanish is good.
W-A-S-H-I-N-G-T-O-N, Moscoso, M-O-S-C-O-S-O.
Sargento, ¿qué es lo que tenemos aquí? Podemos ver un carro que está metido afuera de la carretera y aparentemente un cuerpo. ¿Qué pasó?
Esta tarde, como a las 4:30 de la tarde, el carro, oficiales fueron dispatched para un accidente en la carretera. La ambulancia llegó antes de los oficiales y comenzaron a tratar al conductor para sus heridas. Cuando lo estaban tratando, encontraron que él fue he had gunshot wounds, heridas de bala, y lo pronunciaron muerte ahí en el scene, en el knockout. Cuando oficiales llegaron, comenzaron a hacer la investigación, vieron varios balas en el carro y cerraron la carretera. Nuestro homicide unit llegó y están conduciendo la investigación para ver lo que pasó.
Sargento, ¿usted cree que tal vez alguien le disparó mientras él iba en la carretera?
Parece que sí, porque cuando estaba manejando, el carro de él chocó con otro carro, chocó con el center median y después dobló a la derecha y chocó con un árbol, y ahí se quedó el carro y el conductor estaba muerto.
¿El conductor estaba afuera del carro cuando ya lo encontraron?
No, estaba adentro de su carro.
Estaba adentro de su carro,
Sí.
ya con las heridas. ¿Cuántos balazos le han de verdad?
Eso no sé, están investigando eso ahora. Okay.
Hi, we're live on Facebook in our Ken's 5 app, so do you mind giving us your first and your last name?
Sergeant Washington Moscoso, W-A-S-H-I-N-G-T-O-N, M-O-S-C-O-S-O. This afternoon, about 4:30, officers were dispatched to 35 southbound, just south of Binz-Engleman, for a traffic accident. EMS actually beat our officers to the location and started treating the driver of the victim for any sustained injuries that he had. While they were treating his injuries, they discovered that he had sustained a gunshot wound, and they pronounced him dead at the scene. Officers arrived and found multiple gunshots to his vehicle, and so our traffic unit made the location and shut down the highway so that our homicide unit could come and start their investigation as to what happened.
Do we know what happened? Like, where was he shot? Or...
We don't know at that point. I mean, he sustained some gunshot wounds causing his death. But all that is being investigated right now. So the public is urged, if you were traveling southbound on 35 this afternoon, anywhere between 4:25 and about 4:35, and you happen to have dash cam on your vehicle, or if you witnessed it, to contact our homicide unit to help out with the investigation.
So do you believe he was shot while he was driving?
It appears so. While he was driving southbound, it appears that he crashed into a vehicle, then crashed into the center median, veered to the right, and crashed into a tree on the side of the highway where his vehicle came to rest.
So are you investigating this as a possible road rage shooting, or what?
At this point, we can't rule that out. We don't know if the victim had prior knowledge or prior contact with the shooter. We don't know who the shooter is at this point. So we can't rule out road rage, but it definitely might be a road rage.
So at this point, we don't have any description of what the shooter, vehicle, anything like that?
At this point, we do not.
And so,
But you do believe he was shot while driving?
Yes.
And you mentioned one gunshot or multiple gunshot wounds? Okay.
Multiple gunshots to the vehicle. I can't say whether or not how many gunshots he sustained himself.
anything about the victim, age that we know?
Hispanic male in his 20s.
And he was the only person in the vehicle?
Only occupant of the vehicle.
At this point, what's making it tricky, to put this together? You're looking for dash cam video from people in cars. That maybe seemed a little bit difficult to track down.
Yes, I mean, again, we don't know anything at this point. Our homicide unit is working hard. They're working diligently to find out what happened. I will say to the public out there, if you're traveling into town to avoid 35 southbound, it's going to be shut down for probably about 2 hours while we start this investigation.
Any tech stock cameras or any other surveillance video camera they are looking at?
We're looking out at anything at all possible.
Could this have been a lot? I mean, if we're seeing someone shot at someone on a highway, I mean, there are a lot of people traveling down on a highway. I mean, those bullets could have hit anyone else. I mean, you know, this could have been really scary in terms of other people getting injured here.
That's true, and it's scary for this victim and his family. So, I mean, again, we're investigating it. We don't know the motive. We don't know anything at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Yeah, seriously.
I think we're still live on Facebook, Irissa, so let me double check here. Can we look at the scene from here? Can you spot it? Or maybe it's back that way. If you want to get some shots, maybe that way. There's some lights over here. There. Here, I'm going to get that for you. what they may see.
Just a heads up, you know, you can't actually see any of the scene from here. The tree crashed into that first tree. You see, it does look like it's moving by, so you can kind of visualize it.
Really hard to see.
So that's him in the car there. So that van you might have been able to see earlier, that was what appears to be a Good Samaritan or passenger van. So they're down in that dip.
Like kind of like a bridge there.
Yeah. It's a couple of feet below. So it's like,
Kinda hard.
well, I know how much of a bitch it is. Yeah, you shoot everything and then none of it's the fucking scene because they set you back so far you can't tell.
We good? Mic check, Henry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We okay? Okay. Hey everyone here on Facebook and watching our live stream on our social media platforms. Henry Ramos here with Kins 5. Sorry, it's kind of been a little bit chaotic and behind the scenes in terms of just arriving here on scene. So for those that are watching, for those that are tuning in, I'm going to recap a little bit of what we just heard from San Antonio police here. So, yes, we are at I-35 and Binz-Engleman. Excuse me, for those that are trying to head south on 35 here, it's going to be blocked off at least for a couple of hours here. So as investigators try to work the scene. Actually, I'm going to read kind of your responses. And Susan, I just want to make clear that was not me that was doing that. There are other people here on the scene. It's kind of hard to control what's coming out of their mouth, but I want to make it clear I was not the one that was cursing. So I do want to make that clear. We are surrounded by other media personnel from other stations, so that was definitely not me. I did not have my mic on at the time. So just want to make that clear and make sure that we get that squared away. So from what we know from San Antonio police is that one person has died in a shooting, and so it's kind of hard to make out from where we're at because we're on the opposite side, but we do know that the car crashed. There was one person in the car. It was a driver, a man in his 20s. That's all we know about the victim. But apparently he was shot at while driving along the highway. And when he was shot at, he then hit another vehicle, and then the driver then crashed into a tree. So, from what I'm being told is that the vehicle that crashed is somewhere tucked down in kind of like a ditch area in the tree. So you can't really make out the vehicle from where we're at. So I can't even tell you what kind of vehicle we're talking about here. I can't tell because the vehicle crashed into one of those trees that you see. So I asked police about this shooting. I mean, do they believe it was road rage? Like, why was this vehicle shot at? They don't know. They said there's not a lot of information to go on, and obviously the one person that was in the vehicle that was shot at is unfortunately no longer with us. That person did die. There was no other people in the vehicle from what we're told. So police are asking that if you know of anyone that was traveling along this area that may have, excuse me, dash cam video, or that may have seen something, they're asking you to come forward. And it was between the time, I believe he told me, just after 4:30, in between 4:30 and 5 o'clock. It was around that time. And so, again, we're off I-35, right near SAMC, near Binz-Engleman Road. If you know people that are going to be traveling south on I-35 here on the northeast side, you're going to tell them that they're going to come across some traffic. Police were telling us, I mean, they're going to be out here at least for a couple of hours as homicide investigators are on scene as they're trying to piece everything they can. I will tell you, it took me a while to get here on the opposite side. We were stuck in traffic, and even just on the frontage road along that area, there's a lot of traffic. I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, here it is, the 6 o'clock hour. A lot of people are trying to get home. So I'm monitoring the comments here, so if anyone has any questions, excuse me, I will do my best to answer them. Not a lot of information, folks. I mean, this is honestly quite a scary situation because so many people travel along this highway, and you think of someone just shooting at someone. I mean, so all we know is that a vehicle was shot at, one person was inside the vehicle, a 20-something-year-old driver. We don't know his exact age or much about the victim, but when excuse me, when the vehicle was shot at, the vehicle hit another vehicle and then crashed into a tree. And so the vehicle is somewhere along those trees that you see, so we can't really see the vehicle from our vantage point. Obviously, we're on the opposite side as we were just briefed from San Antonio police. So when police responded out here, at first they thought they were just responding to a car crash, right? They thought that it was just one vehicle involved in the crash, but then they realized when they got up to the vehicle that there were, what they said, several bullet holes along the vehicle. And then when they opened the door and they found the driver, they realized that the driver had been shot. So then it turned into a whole different situation. And only one person was in the vehicle. Again, all we know about the victim is that he's in his 20s. It's a man. That's all we know. I asked police, you know, if they know, well, why was this person shot at? Was it road rage? I mean, what happened? They don't know. It's a little bit too early to tell. And obviously, police don't have a lot to go on because, I mean, you think about this happened on a highway, on I-35 going south. I mean, there's not a lot to go on. Sorry, I hope that makes sense. And so they don't have a description of a vehicle. They don't have a description of the shooter. So not a lot to go off on at this point. But what I can tell you as well is that, again, if you know of someone heading south on I-35 near Binz-Engleman Road, right near SAMC, folks, this is going to be blocked off at least for the next hour or so, according to police, at least up to the next 2 hours. Exactly, Susan, during rush hour, it's a lot of traffic. I got stuck in it on the frontage road here trying to get to this opposite side. And Beth, what kind of car? I can't tell you that. I don't know. And the reason, folks, you're not seeing the vehicle, obviously it's hard to tell because we're on the opposite side of the highway, but because the car crashed into the trees. So the car is essentially tucked into those trees over there, so it's hard to see what kind of vehicle it is right now. So we don't know. I don't know what kind of vehicle, and I don't know anything about the victim. All we know, according to police, is that it was someone in his 20s. And there was only one person, it being the driver, in that vehicle. We have homicide investigators out here right now trying to piece any clues, anything that they can to figure out exactly what happened here. And again, this is at I-35, excuse me, near Binz-Engleman Road. Anyone heading south on 35, you want to warn them that the highway is going to be shut down because at least for the next hour or two, according to San Antonio police. So Shannon is saying that she just passed by it and it was a 4-door white newer model vehicle. So Shannon, thank you for that report. And this is going to take a while until they figure out, you know, what's going on, and it's really tough because, I mean, there's not much to go on for police. Is that they're hoping that if anyone was traveling along this area around 4:30, if you know something, you saw something, you heard the gunshots, they want you to come forward and report any information that you have to San Antonio police. If anyone has any questions, I will try to answer them. Rudy White, I got a video of it on my page. Rudy, what did you see? If you can tell me, what video do you have? I'm curious. Yeah, Crystal, I would follow the man, except I don't have a traffic vest, and I don't want to have another issue out here. I don't want to risk my life. This is about as close as I think we can get. We did have Chopper 5 live over the scene earlier, so we do have an aerial footage, but I don't want to get so close. And Bear, we don't want to show the body. We certainly want to be respectful because it is someone's loved one out here that unfortunately lost their life today. Mindy, we don't know if it was road rage. I asked police that. We don't know that. They don't know why this person may have been shot. Okay, so Tara is asking what happened. So for those of us who are joining us live here on our social media platforms and digital stream here with KINS 5, my name is Henry Ramos. I'm a reporter here. Just arrived here on scene here in the last 15-20 minutes. Got here just in time as San Antonio police were updating us. So I'm going to give a brief recap from what we know from San Antonio police. So we know that someone was driving along the highway here, driving south. I believe they were heading south on I-35. And apparently they were shot at. And once they were shot at, they crashed into another vehicle, and then it crashed into a tree. One of those trees that you're looking at right over there with all the lights on. And all we know about the victim is that he was in his 20s. We don't know much about the driver. He was the only person in the car. And so when police got out here, they thought they were responding to just a crash involving just one vehicle, right? And then they realized when they got here, they looked at the vehicle and they saw like several bullet holes along the vehicle. And then they opened the door and then they found that the driver had a gunshot wound. So then they're like, okay, this is more than just a car crash. So then they brought out homicide investigators. They believe that the driver, was shot while he was driving on the highway. We do not know if it was road rage. We do not know why this person was shot. A lot is unknown at this point. So we don't really know. I asked those questions to police. And so they're asking if anyone was driving along this area around a little after 4:30, between 4:30 and 5, that may have heard or seen something, or if they have maybe, a lot of people have cameras now on their dash cams, things like that. If they may have seen or have heard something to contact police. So if you know of anyone. The other thing that I'm going to tell you is a big part of the story in terms of right now is that this highway, if you know of anyone that's going to be heading south, this highway is going to be shut down as long as homicide investigators and just investigators in general from San Antonio Police are out here trying to figure out what's going on or any clues that they can find. So, you know of anyone that's going to be heading along this area, which we know it's after 6 o'clock. A lot of people trying to get home. This is a very heavy trafficked area. You want to let them know that this is going to be shut down for quite some time. So hopefully that answers as much as any questions you got, because that's pretty much what we know at this point. Mindy, you're welcome. Jenna Lee, is that white car involved? I don't know what white car. Is there a white car? I can't see from here. A white car? Oh, I see a white car. I don't know if that white car is involved. I don't know if that's a vehicle from. And I think they're talking about this white car over here. Right over here. Yeah. No? Yeah. We don't know. We don't think, I don't know if it is. That could be a vehicle from investigators. I don't know. Maybe a witness. I'm not sure. I can tell you that's not the vehicle in question, because the vehicle in question of the driver who was shot crashed into one of those trees. You can't see it from here. Do you see all those big trees along that off the highway, off 35 heading south? So it crashed somewhere in there. So it's not that vehicle. I do know that. So the vehicle that you're looking at with all the flashing lights, that's not it. I don't know if that vehicle belongs to investigators or is a witness, but it's not the vehicle that the person who's dead is in, if that answers your question. Christina, what car? I don't know what car. I got here a little bit late, so I'm not sure what vehicle the person was in. Hector, so what's going on? I will recap real quickly. And for those of you who are watching, I'm repeating myself. I just want to make sure that everyone gets the information. A lot of people are jumping onto our stream a little bit late, so I just want to make sure that everyone has the information as much as what we know. So what I know is that someone was driving here on 35 near Binz-Engleman Road, and they were shot at. Once they were shot, they crashed into another vehicle, and then they crashed into a tree. So and when police got out here, they thought they were responding to a car crash. Then they got to the car and they saw these bullet holes on the car. They opened the door, they see one person inside, it was a driver. They see that the driver had a gunshot wound. And I'm only saying wound because it looked like that police can only tell us that they believe that the person was shot once, but not, that's all we know. All we know about the driver, the victim, is that he's in his 20s, he's a man, that's all we know. I don't know the exact age, I don't know much more than that. And so they're asking anyone with information that may have been driving along this stretch of road, again, near Samsey, off I-35 heading south, on I-35, yes, heading south, if they knew may have seen or may have heard the gunshots, you know, because they believe that the man was shot while he was driving. They thought he was shot on the highway. So it's pretty crazy. I asked him if there's like any tech stock cameras or any other surveillance video. You know how we sometimes will show like crashes and we see like tech stock cameras, things like that. They're looking into that to see if there is any out here. And so then we asked, you know, if this was road rage or why this person was shot at. Police don't know that yet. So we don't know that. But one can assume, but it's hard to assume at this point. And I'm being told by our great digital team who's back, you know, at the station, that a story is going up soon at kins5.com that will have what I'm telling you. So if you want to share, if you want to read more, and again, folks, this is all preliminary information. We don't know a lot because police don't know a lot, so I'm only reporting what we know. But we'll have a story. Our digital team, is working on that right now. It will be up at kins5.com, and I'm sure that they can post it on the comment section for you, so that way you can click on it. But the big story in terms of right now moving forward, obviously it's so sad and unfortunate that we have someone who was killed and someone who's no longer here with us in terms of a victim. But the other big part of the story is that this is going to be shut down for quite some time. Again, at Binz-Engleman 35 near SAMC, along this area, for those heading south, that highway is going to be shut down. So you want to let anyone that you know of that's going to be heading this direction to know what they're going to come across. No one has any other questions. I'll do my best to answer them. I'm monitoring the comments. Looks like everyone seems to be caught up right now. You guys are welcome. We just wanted to make sure that I like to give context, because I know sometimes we just do a stream and it's kind of, sometimes there's not much that we know that we can tell you, but we're only going based off the little information of what San Antonio police knows. So Norma, they believe that he was shot on the highway. At what point of the stretch of highway, I'm not sure. But we're on the opposite side of exit 162, so it's like if you're going to take 410 south, we're right before the Brooke Army Medical Base, the Brooke Army Medical Center exit 163. But it happened on the opposite side, so on the southbound lanes of 35. That's where we know. But I don't know where exactly the person where he was shot, because this is where we know that he crashed, if that makes sense. So and again, we do know that he crashed into one of those trees. So it's hard to tell from where we're at. You know, that's true, Jenna. I mean, he could have been driving himself to the hospital, absolutely, because we are very close to SAMC. Like, really, I mean, I can see SAMC. It's just right there. He could have been, very much so. Very scary situation. You know, the way that I see it too is that, you know, so many people drive along this stretch of road, and then you're thinking after 4:30, right? It's like right when people, right? Just right towards rush hour. And I mean, you know, bullets, they go anywhere. And so I don't know if any other vehicle may have been hit in this. You know, so, but what we know is that one person unfortunately has died, and here police thought they were just responding to a car crash, and then they got here, they see the car crash, and they see all these bullet holes, and then they open the door and they see the driver had a gunshot wound, and unfortunately that driver, they lost their life today. All we know is he's in his 20s. That's all we know. And it looks like, from what I'm gathering, is that our oh, I am told that our digital team, that they just posted the article right now. It's in the comments, so if you want to read more, and again, that's the information that I've been repeating, just click on that article. Yes, Mindy, the link is in there. Yes, Valerie, I agree. Random, super scary, absolutely. And again, we don't know the motive behind the shooting. If it was road rage or anything like that, we don't know. It is very scary. But for that, folks, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. We appreciate you for tuning in here at KENS5.com, our KENS5 social media platforms. Henry Ramos here, along with Irissa Wheeler, is behind the camera. We appreciate you tuning in. If once we learn more information, through police, I doubt that we'll get more information today. But once we do, we'll of course pass that along to you on the air. And as always, news never stops at KENS5.com, as well as our KENS5 app. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now. For those of you watching, thanks for joining us. Be safe out there. And again, just along this stretch of the road, it's going to be shut down at least for a couple of hours. So here at 35 and Binz-Engleman Road, those heading south. Okay? Be safe out there, folks. Thanks so much for watching.